Hey there, makeup junkies. So today I'm going to show you how I do my full face of makeup from start to finish. Now it varies on how I do different clients, like the difference between a bride and obviously burlesque is quite different. So what I do on other people usually is a lot different than what I do on me, but this is how I do my makeup every single day. I hope you get something out of it. I tried to throw in as many tips and tricks as I possibly can, and plus I also did a review and demo on a mascara that I've never tried, so make sure to stay tuned for that. So I hope you enjoy, and like I said, get something out of it, or maybe something that you can see that you can do better for your own routine. Either way, this is how I did it, and I hope you enjoy. I'd like to prime my eyes with the MAC Prolongwear Concealer. I'm going to start just by putting that right over the whole eyelid. Oh yes, quick tip. I found somewhere where I can slide in a quick tip. So if you have oily eyelids, which it's quite common, we all have oily eyeballs. So you're just going to take a little blotting tissue. You can use any one. They make ones with rice paper, ones that have rose, or one's sensitive skin. This one's sensitive skin. I got this one at Ulta, but you just take a little guy like this and you literally dab off the excess oil. We use these guys all over our face, but somehow we forget to dab off that excess oil on the eyelid. And probably one of the most common things I hear is, even though I use eyeshadow primer and all this stuff, they're still oily. So do a quick dab and that should take care of your eyelids for the rest of the day. So I'm just going to do a simple eye since I'm doing full face, and we're going to keep it simple. So I'm going to use the Maybelline The Color Tattoo Metal, the 24/7, and this color is the 55 Inked in Pink, which is this lovely color here. I'm going to use my STILA 37 brush, and this is just one of my favorites for putting on creams and glitters and foils. So if you don't like sticking your finger in creams and blending it that way, this brush is fantastic. For applicator, it's not quite a brush. I'm just going to smear that all over my lid. So the color I'm going to use next is, of course, one of the palettes that I can't keep, or I can't throw in your face enough. Guess what it is? It's the Too Faced Yellow Mode palette. So I'm going to go in with the Riviera, this nice highlighter in the middle. I'm going to go underneath my whole eyebrow, all the way through the crease down to my lid. Alright, so the color I'm going to use now, this is the Napoleon. This is the Pink Champagne Loose Eyeshadow Dust. So it comes in these cute little guys like this. Oh my. I don't really want to tip it, but you can see it is a loose powder. So I'm going to take that lovely champagne pink. I'm going to tap it onto that cream eyeshadow. Now here's my tip, because actually I do have a bit of a hooded lid, as you can see, and most people don't ever notice that. So I'm going to tell you the quick tip of how I use to camouflage that. So instead of just keeping the eyeshadow just like right on top of my eyelid, I'm going to go a little bit past where the hood starts, almost giving the illusion of a bigger eye. And even if you don't have hooded eyes and you have small eyes, you can still do this. And you're just going to blend it, not putting any more product, and you're going to bring it up just a little bit past where you want your eye to look bigger. And then just by extending it and blending it as you go, you get that nice soft. So you see how like this eye stops abruptly right in your crease, and this eye, it has some lift to it. It actually looks a little bit bigger compared to this eye. Okay, so now that my champagne lids are on, I'm going to go back with that Too Faced Yellow Mode palette. This is the light corset. Still can't say it, but it's so pretty. It's this highlighter up here. Take a little bit of that. Stick it probably about where your arch is on down. Taking a little dollop of eyeshadow and also sticking it in the inner corners and blending that in. Alright, so now that we're all highlighted and snazzied up, we're going to go in and shade in the crease and a little bit on the outer corner just to give the eye more definition. I'm going to go in and use the Soleil color right here. Take a dab of that. Just going to go right there on that outer corner. I'm going to start blending it into the crease. I'm going to take a fluffy brush, and I just cleaned off the one I had. Since all my blending brushes right now are quite dirty, I'm just going to start back and forth around the edges just to soften up the look. Now, as far as like finishing under here, I like to put on my foundation, powder, conceal all under here before I even attempt any eyeshadow on, just because I feel like I can get a lot more coverage and by setting the concealer with my normal face powder. So the primer I am using today is the Napoleon primer. So put that all over my face, and then I'm going to go in with the Too Faced Amazing Face foundation, and I'm using Perfect Nude. Okay, so foundation is on. Now I'm going to go back in with my MAC Prolongwear Concealer, and I don't think I told you what color I was using. I'm using the NW20. Take that just with my finger for under eye. I literally just go all the way up to the lash line. And all the way back, bringing it in the inner corner as well. So the other quick tip I can give you too is if you do have any dark circles or anything like that, when you're doing your concealer, make sure you just don't conceal right through here. Make sure you do bring it down, blend it down, kind of like in this nice triangle right here, just because that's going to blend it in. Usually if you have a dark circle and you end your concealer right where your dark circle ends, it's just going to make it more noticeable, believe it or not. So make sure you do blend out your concealer really well. Okay, so what I like to do really quick for my powder is I like to set the under eye area first. Now I'm going to take a lightweight, this is the MAC Mineralize Skinfinish in medium. It doesn't necessarily have to be mineralized, it just has to be a lightweight, so it's definitely not a full coverage, it's more of a setting powder. I just found for covering up the under eye area, if you go to use a really heavy one, it's just going to get cakey. You do have to set your under eye concealer. I don't care what concealer it is or what it says on the bottle, they all crease. They just do. You could even use the translucent powder to take that and just tap in the under eye in the corner, brush out. And the other thing I like to do with this little brush is tap on all the places that you really want to conceal. Okay, so now that I have those just little areas concealed, I'm going to take a bigger brush. This is the Japanese brush. I think this is the bronzing brush. I just thought it was so nice and fluffy that I would use it for my powders, and it works. So what I like to do is, instead of buffing it on right away, you're just going to move around all that foundation. I like to actually tap it on first just because I'm setting it. I found it even makes your makeup last even longer by doing this. And once I've tapped and pressed on all the powder, then I like to take the brush and very lightly kind of buff it over, just in case you like did a tap and you leave a bunch of powder right there. Softly, get rid of the hairs, softly buffing it, you even it all out. So I'm just going to use the STILA smudge stick, and I'm going to quickly line the inner waterline with black. I'm going to take a little bit of the Soleil, this color right here. Feels so terrible because I can't pronounce this and it's my favorite palette. I feel like I'm just betraying myself. And then I'm going to go in with, I'm going to try to pronounce it, this slightly darker shade right here. Take that darker color and just go right on the outer edge, and this is going to give some more definition. There we go. So for the top, I'm just going to line my lids using the Kat Von D. This is the Tattoo Eyeliner. Just going to line. Before I put on my mascara, usually I like to do the rest of my face since I'm going to be using bronzers and blush, and I don't want any powder sticking to that mascara. So mascara is always the very last thing I like to put on. So I'm sorry if it seems like I'm doing eyes and then face and back to eyes and now eyebrows and bronzer and all of that and then back to the eyes. Like I said, mascara is always the last thing I put on. But other than that, that is the full eye look. So now we're going to move on to bronzer because I like to contour and put all of my powders on before I even like do my eyebrows. I'm weird like that. So I'm going to take my Bahama Mama. This is by TheBalm. So what I like to do, and this brush is huge but amazing, is where your cheekbone is. I'm not going to tell you about contouring. I have another video about that. I'll list it down below and you can watch how to contour. So I'm just going to quickly bronze my face. So a little bit. I love this brush so much. If you could muster up and spend, I think it was $49. If you can muster up and spend that much on a brush, it is so worth it. This is the most I've ever spent for a brush, or pretty much anything besides a palette. So like the one item that's not a palette, this is the most, but it's so nice. It blends as it goes. It's amazing. Okay, so now we're gonna do blush and highlight. So I know I use this blush so much in so many tutorials, and it was just a lovely brush, and this is the Tarte Blush and Captivating. So then for highlighter, I'm going to be using the NARS in Albatross, which is this lovely highlighter here. I'm going to take a little bit of that, start right on the highest part of my cheekbone, and then same thing, blend back. I'm going to go in little buffing circular motions, and this is the M.A.C 130 brush. This brush is amazing. So I like to do a little bit above the eyebrow as well. So like you're almost going to make a nice little C or V. Okay, are you ready for this? I'm doing eyebrows now. I've been putting this off till the very end. So I'm going to start. This is the Sephora Waterproof Eyebrow Pencil in 03, the Rich Chestnut, which is this guy here. It doesn't have a spoolie on the end like the Anasazi, which is a little disappointing, but I use brushes anyhow, so it doesn't really matter. So I brush my eyebrows where they need to be. Better to start from this half and go down than to start right here, because then you're going to put way too much product on and you're going to get them angry eyebrows. So it is best, which I have found, for doing this on everybody, is to start here and work your way back. So I'm just going to do little feathery strokes to keep it natural looking. And then where I don't have an arch, I'm just going to fill it in and kind of draw it on. And then the rest of it, I'm mainly focusing on the bottom. Because if you do darker on the bottom than the top, your eyebrows are going to look more defined. Think of it as contouring your eyebrows. Alright, so I didn't even do that little bit right there. So now I'm going to fill in my other eyebrow. Now I'm going to go in with the Anasazi Dip Brow. And I have the Albatross. I bought this when it first came out back in February, like first shipment that ever came into Ulta. I bought it. And literally, I don't know if you can see, but as you can see, there's not a lot gone. That is all I use, and I use this like every day I ever put my eyebrows on. And I like to take a very thin synthetic brush instead of a natural bristle, and this one's just by Japanese. And then I'm just going to start on the outer corner. And this also has like a gel on it, so it keeps your brows in place. Then I'm going to take that little teeny blending brush, and this one's also by Japanese. I'm going to take and start blending inward. Whatever product gets on my brush is the product that's going to end up in the center of my brows. And then I'm going to go in with the same concealer brush that I dabbed under my eyes and on my spots, and just go over that with some powder. So the very last product I use is the Anasazi. This is the Tinted Brow Gel, and this is in the brunette. First when I saw these, I saw Tinted Brow Gel. Yeah, exciting. And actually, once I tried them, they are pretty amazing. Especially if you have gray hairs in your eyebrows and you want to cover it up. This stuff's amazing. So I'm just going to take that very lightly. Since I have such long hairs, I feel like I need a little bit more than just the dip brow to keep my hairs in place. Okay, so remember I told you that mascara is the very last thing I'd like to put on? Well, I'm not kidding. So before I even do that, I do the Urban Decay. This is the All Nighter Setting Spray. We'll go in, saturate my face. I usually wear 3 different mascaras. Yes, I do. I wear usually 2 to 3. Usually, like when I do my other tutorials, I'll put on just one mascara for the purpose of time. But if I'm not wearing false eyelashes and I'm not usually doing a tutorial for my everyday eye makeup, I wear 2 to 3 mascaras because layering gives you that nice effect. So I'm going to start with this. This is the Calvin Klein mascara. I was not impressed with it as a mascara, but as a base. So here's my thing. Usually it's 2 mascaras and a base. Like you can use a primer, or like I like to use my Calvin Klein and it's got this little twist top, and then it gets, well, does it work? Yeah, it gets longer or shorter. I don't know if you can see that. I like the shorter way. So I use my Calvin Klein mascara because I was not impressed by it by itself, but as a primer or a base, it's fantastic. Okay, so I'm going to try, this is the Buxom, I don't know what this is, the Vanity Lash Mascara, which comes like this. You get to pick out your own brush, which is really cool, whichever kind of brush you like, and I picked out, or I got the big and bushy brush, which is the purple one. I like big ones. So I already just did this one, since I had to change out my battery. So you can see with just my primer or Calvin Klein and then putting another mascara on top how much fuller it looks. Now I'm going to do this side now that you can see the difference. Okay, so I just applied another coat on. So I have about 2 to 3 coats of the Buxom mascara. I've never used this before, so you're kind of getting a review and first impression demo right here. So I have to say I am very impressed. Like, this stuff is amazing. So I just threw on, this is the Milani lip, I don't know what these are called, but this is by Milani, and it's the lip gloss thing with the little click top with the brush. That's what I have on my lips, and this is in Orchid. I have no idea what these things are called, and I can't read it. It's too small. I will find it at Ulta. It's not where I got this one, but that's where you can get them now. So I'll put that down below. Okay, so this is the completed look. Don't forget to give it a big thumbs up if you like it. So I threw in as many tips and tricks, there I said it right, as I can think of as we went along. And so I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram, since I have lots of pictures on there of makeups that I don't even do tutorials on, which I probably should, but I don't. Shh. And don't forget to like me on Facebook, same thing, lots of other pictures. And I will see you guys in my next video.